We do not like to become slaves to the tabs. We like to just use them as a blueprint, and we come up with our own ideas going from there. So the Cumberland Gap, let's have a look at it, shall we? Now, wow, on the screen straight away. I always say, like, if you ever look at these tabs and you don't feel overwhelmed just by looking at them, you're not human. There's something wrong with you. So what do we know when we look at this? So the Cumberland Gap, straight away, we've already discussed the E minor chord. So we're looking forward to getting on with the E minor chord. So you can see it appears 3 times in this tune. And then you've got loads of different pull-off combinations going on there. Looks a bit complicated already, doesn't it? And then, look at that. Got some slides to play, a few slides thrown in. Then we've got loads of hammer-ons and pull-offs. And then before you know it, the tab gets completely overwhelming and our brains get overloaded. We feel completely stressed out, and then boom, overload. We give up. We realise it's too complicated, we sack it off, put our banjo down, and we're going to do something else for the day. But all we need to do is just relax, take a deep breath, and simplify. My favourite word in the whole wide world, simplify. All we need to do is look at the complicated tab that we've got in front of us, and with a bit of experience and with my help, we can work through the tab together and we can simplify it. So, at a glance, what do we know? What is our given bits of information? So let's start on the far left and work our way across, shall we? So looking at the tunings, we've got G, D, G, B, D. If we know from video 1, good day, good banjo day, that is our tuning. So G, D, G, B, D. Standard open G tuning. Next, we've got the timing. So it's 4/4 timing, which means there's 4 beats per measure. In translation for us, that just means each measure contains 2 bum-ditty patterns. Bum-ditty, 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 bum-ditty. So each measure contains 2 bum-ditty patterns. What else have we got? So we've got the G chord. Obviously it's a G tune, so you'll see the G chord appear at the start and at the end. Then we've got a couple of D7 changes, and as we mentioned, we've got the E minor chord changes as well. So all the chords in this tune are made up with the G, the D7 and the E minor. Okay, but how many actual chord changes are there? Like how often do we go from not doing anything to fretting a D7 or an E minor? So how many chord changes? Well, there's one. I'm going to go from G to E minor. I'm not including going from E minor back to G, by the way, just going from nothing to holding the chord. So we've got one change there, and then we're going to go from E minor back to G. We're going to go for the D7, so that's 2, back to G, E minor, back to G, down here, D7, back to G, and we've got like a long E minor section. Okay, so altogether we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chord changes. So that's going to be going G, E minor, D7, nothing that we can't handle. So what else is there in this tab that we need to dissect? So if you look at the bottom part there, you can see that we've got them repeater symbols, which says to me that that bottom part there is the chorus. And with the repeater symbols, when we get around to the chorus part, we're going to repeat that 2 times. Okay, so what would Bob Ross do? If Bob Ross played the banjo, what would he do? How would he approach this? So if you watch my Bob Ross video, you'll know that we're going to build the tune up in layers. So the first thing that Bob Ross would do would be to prepare his canvas, wouldn't it? To build his canvas. And we've just done that now by highlighting all of the measures. So in total there are 12 measures in this tune. And then, if I know Bob Ross as well as I think I do, the next thing he'll do is whip out his 3-inch brush, and he will whitewash the canvas, covering a thin layer of liquid white, and that's what we've done now. So effectively we've just deleted everything. That's all we've done. So we've taken the tab like that, we've washed it, got rid of it, just to simplify it. By doing that, everything then becomes a G chord because we've deleted all the information, there's nothing left. So we're left with just the G chords and 12 measures. So obviously we need to add some colour back into this painting. So what we'll do is we will put the chords back into the tune. So we've done that now. So now the chords are back in and I've colour coded them. So we've got our E minor, which is blue, the D7, which is pink, and the standard open G, which is white. Now, looking at the tab, remember we're still in the process of dissecting the tab and trying to understand what kind of information is there. So rather than just start cracking on and start playing now, we could actually simplify it even further if we know what we're looking for. So does anything repeat in this tab? Now it might be quite hard to look at because if you notice here on the screen, you've got your G, G goes to E minor, G, then D7, and then the tune carries on going, then it moves down here. But if you notice, and it's quite hard to see the way it's laid out at the moment, but tabs, sorry, not tabs, by measures 5, 6, 7 and 8 are actually mirror copies of measures 1, 2, 3 and 4. Does that make sense? If you look at that, you've got your G, G, E minor, G, D7, G. And then here you got G, G, E minor, G, D7, G. So it's a bit tricky to see, but they do repeat. I've highlighted them there. So the two green circles are mirrored copies of each other. And it would look like that. So if you see tabs 1, 2, 3 and 4 and tabs 5, 6, 7 and 8, they are exactly the same. And what about the chorus? So you remember that bottom bit there, and it had the two repeater symbols, which means we play that through 2 times. So essentially, we've simplified our tune right down to 4 measures, 2 rows, so 8 measures in total, which we're going to play through twice. So now we've taken that original complicated tune with all embellishments and slides and hammer-ons and made our heads explode, and now we've reduced it right down to its bare bones. So all we've got is just the chord shapes and the duration of the tune. So we could actually start to play that now. So we have taken this monstrosity that we saw at the start that made our heads explode, and we've simplified it to this. Okay, so you see, rather than just take your tab as it's printed and just cracking on and grinding through it and struggling, if you know what you're looking for, and it does take time, I must admit, it comes with experience, we can simplify it right down to its bare bones, which makes her go from that to that. Nice, peaceful zen. Right, we're going back to the original layout now. So we've simplified it, we've got an idea of what the tune chord-wise should sound like. Now it's time to find those all-important melody notes. So you'll see now I've taken the way the chords are labelled on the measures, and I'm going to put them up, and this, the way you see it written now, this is how you'd normally see it written on print or in tab form. So I've overlaid now the original tab, and what we're going to do now, we're going to try and find the melody notes. Now if you remember from previous videos how we find the melody notes, you'll notice that in this instance a lot of the melody notes are either hammer-ons, slides or pull-offs. Now if that is the case, you know, finding the melody notes, like I said before, it's not a hard written rule, it's not an exact science. Sometimes it's just a case of playing about and seeing which one works best. So for this example, where you've got like a hammer-on here going from 0 to 2, you can either call it 0 or 2, you know, and then again there it's either 2 or 4. So you'll see what I've done. So I've identified all of the melody notes, and then where we've got these embellishments where it's either 2 or it's 4, I think I've just gone for the higher number. So for example, if you look here where it goes 0 to 2, I've decided to call that 2. And then over here where you've got 2 to 4, I've decided to call it 4. So you can see what I've done. I've gone for like the higher number just because it just seemed the right thing to do. And now we've got all of the melody notes, what we're going to do is go back to the original format that we had it in, getting rid of all the embellishments and the bum ditties and the fifth string. So all we've got now is just purely the melody notes. So we're going to have a slow through play of this now, all together, starting from measure 1. feet. Oh, I almost forgot as well, one last thing. The lyrics. We forgot to include the lyrics of the song. So let's go back to this tab and we'll just play a simple playthrough and we'll just shout out the lyrics as we play. So starting at measure 1, it should go something like this. Lay down boys, take a little nap. We're all going to the Cumberland Gap. Cumberland Gap, Cumberland Gap. We're all going to the Cumberland Gap. Lay down boys, take a little nap. We're all going to the Cumberland Gap. Cumberland Gap, Cumberland Gap. We're all going to the Cumberland Gap. Lay down boys, take a little nap. We're all going to the Cumberland Gap. Cumberland Gap, Cumberland Gap. We're all going to the Cumberland Gap.